Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 85 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Noah, joined by my buddies slash co-hosts, and welcome back from Vegas, Thomas and Justin. Donnie's with us in spirit, adulting. But whether you're a first-time gamer or a veteran card gamer, let me just rewind that.
No, I'm gonna leave it in.
Sorry about that. No, you're gonna leave it in? Fine. If you tested the waters, we're all siblings in cardboard, okay? Test the waters of high seas, be siblings in cardboard.
I was going to say, we're making a high seas pun with testing the waters.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey,
okay.
We're on a
Welcome back
schedule
from
here.
Vegas, guys.
You're going to, leave and go play Dungeons & Dragons, right?
Well, World of Warcraft. It's about the same thing.
Oh, God. You're going to leave us for World of Warcraft?
It's okay. We have a wonderful
It's my weekly raid.
You're not... Are you raid leader?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, then, can you be late?
No, I can't.
Yeah, it's like you're the one running it.
It's nobody will do anything if I'm not there. They'll just sit there what do
that
we
sounds
do?
like their problem, not yours.
It sounds like they're early.
Yeah, well, we've been.
Oh,
late
you're the
last
professor in
couple
this
days.
situation. You get
Yes.
You have a PhD, right? So you get 15 minutes.
Pretty much. I get to show up late.
Cool.
They get to do all this stuff for me. But welcome back. I didn't go, so if you guys want to talk a little bit about one at a time, maybe something fun, cool outside of Flesh and Blood to kind of get us going, and then we'll obviously get to the nitty gritty of story time and things like that.
Sure. Well, I had a great time. Vegas is now one of my favorite places to go on vacation. I went with my buddy Brandon. We showed up on Tuesday, so we were there 2 days early. And I think I spent more money in the first 2 days than I did for the rest of the weekend, honestly. So had a good time. Anytime I gambled, I lost in both cards and casino. So it was not a lucky weekend for me at all, but I still had a great time.
Yeah, it was still fun. I think the highlight was I stayed at the one hotel over, but they have a monorail, so it was a 2-second train ride over, and we were there. And 4 of the other guys on the team also booked their hotel there. So we would just wake up every morning and just have breakfast together before we all jumped on the train to come to the convention. And don't get me wrong, family dinner at the end of the day is fun, but you're also dead because those days are super long and you've used a lot of mental energy. And so sometimes those can get a little off the rails. But the breakfasts were a lot of fun. I had a lot, that was very, very enjoyable.
That's good. So little team breakfast. That's always nice. It's a good way to start the day. I enjoyed that. I think last time we were in LA as well, we had we were all there and kind of walked over together. So it's always nice. It's always nice to start your day with kind of everybody in there, and then everybody goes what are you doing today? It's oh, I'm doing this, and then we all head on out. So Vegas is a really cool place.
The team dinners,
everybody had a good time.
The team dinners did slap though. We went to all you can eat sushi, and they had things Daddy Loves You roll.
Yeah, it was all you can eat sushi with the worst names ever.
Yeah, Thor's hammer hand roll.
Yeah, Thor's hammer, and there was a light my butt on fire roll, and I love my butt and stuff like that. And we were just I'm very confused by these, but here we are. It was very entertaining. It was also good though.
Yeah, it's $37 for all you can eat, and it was all high quality. Yeah. And they even have marks on their menu hey, this is the one-ofs. You can only get one of these things. And so they're almost pointing out the things that are expensive that they want you to try.
Yeah, it was all very good. And then another night we had family dinner getting dim sum. I want to say that was Saturday night.
Yeah.
It sounds like Saturday night. And that slapped. That was a Josh Lau recommendation, and that worked out very well.
Dude, it was so good.
It was so good. Oh my God. I'm not a tofu person, but they had this spicy, they called it mapo tofu? Tofu? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It sounded like maple in my head, and I kept saying the Lynx tofu, and it was just it was so good. It was incredible. I highly, highly recommend that. That was great.
What did you do, Noah?
I did a solo pod where I talked a little bit about the market, put my tinfoil on just a little bit, and kind of conspiracy theory, just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Then later in the week, I did like more of a, I guess, singular store oriented sort of interview with our like, so I call them our sister channel, but Tune Encounter Gamers. I mean, they're like a bunch of locals that we know, and so their channel is really fun as well. So they do kind of like the, newer sort of entry level, kind of like, what did we learn today? So it was fun. So I got to kind of do their whole thing, and Will's a riot. He's got some really weird line of questioning. So we had a good time doing that. Other than that, just, I mean, work. I got back in the office, so I've just been working and just trying to sneak in some time when I can. I haven't even put like the majority of all this stuff up. Like I haven't even opened it all, so I don't even know how the high seas is going for me yet because I haven't even looked at it all.
Well, how's it going on the market?
I mean, it's pretty good. Well, it's pretty stable.
That Crowded Dominion
going down.
Yeah, the Blackout Dominion. That thing has to be like $600 now.
We're gonna talk about it. Yeah, there's some cards that have just kind of hit off the rails. Kind of just gonna take a quick run through most of the notables and I say that loosely because it's not gonna be every single card in high seas, as well as some other cards that have kind of rocketed as a result. One of them will be Crown of Dominion. In fact, we can just go ahead and start it off with Crown of Dominion. So, can anybody tell me what they think the rainbow foil is? You had to take a wild guess.
The regular rainbow
the marbles,
foil?
so I'm not cheating. Oh, man, what was your guess on the blackout?
I thought it was like 600.
Okay.
Maybe 550.
It's not that much, but it's getting there. Rainbow foil, I'm going to guess 125.
I was going to go above that. I was going to go like 180.
It is Dynasty.
Maybe 200.
The rainbow foil is $200. The gold foil is $220.
And the blackout's how much?
The regular cold foil is $220. The blackout is $465 right now.
Yeah, I figured.
Now no sales above $350, so it's on the high end, but it's going crazy. It's just it's had like another resurgence. Not surprising given the gold, given success of some of the heroes that we're going to talk about, but.
That first gold in Gravy and Puffin, now that we're done and we can actually talk about constructed decks, that first gold in those two decks is so incredibly important.
It's important in Marlin too. Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't have that first gold, sometimes you could, like, especially if you go second.
Sometimes, yeah.
You just have no turn sometimes with the Harpoon deck. So the Harpoon deck likes it as well.
Yeah. And then also, like, one of the most powerful cards in all of the pirate card pools, Golden Tipple. And just, like, Marlin not getting access to that card because she doesn't have gold is tragic.
Golden Tipple is an amazing card.
Yeah, Golden Tipple is very good.
Whenever like it clicked in my brain that the yellow one is Zephyr Needle that makes a gold, I was like, oh no, this card is nuts. So, yeah. But yeah.
Crown of Dominion. Now, it's not all bad news. So a lot of how High Seas was, I guess, slated to work, and it's sort of working. It's hilarious because it's like a weird trickle down system, but I don't really want to go there. But that's how it is. It's really funny. There's boxes like everywhere. All right, like there's not a lot of boxes floating around at High Seas for very low. Obviously, that the prices were really high before pre-sale, the allocations, all that stuff. I mean, we talk about it on both pods. We don't have to get into it in depth, but it has made a concentrated amount of boxes that were otherwise already allocated sort of wonky as other stores and places have bought in. So this set was another Hunted 2.0, if you want to call it, maybe slightly less EV. But it had so much high-end collector stuff that everybody bought the boxes, opened the treasure packs, and now flood the market with majority of the Majestics. So there's a varying range. Some Majestics have kept a $40 value, which if you think about it, isn't necessarily shelter level. I don't think every Majestic should be shelter level, but only a couple of Majestics have really got that $40, $50 price tag. If that, majority of them are, overly saturated. So there's a lot of high-end sort of grab out of High Seas that I think is high and it will take some time to come down, but I think there's a lot of accessible Majestic cards that are also just like dumped and poured out there. So this is definitely a single set. This is definitely a wait for 2.0 type set, but this Treasure Willy Wonka chase is really sort of throttled.
There's some good commons and rares in this set. Like,
yeah, they definitely power shifted. They power shifted like almost all the good cards down. Like the Majestics are very clearly constructed level cards, but like, yeah, some of your commons are just nuts.
Like Crash Down the Gates Red, I think could be playable in Classic Constructed in the right format.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think that card's nice.
Morty is like a common that you're absolutely windmill slamming. Golden Tipple, we've already talked about that card, is a common that you're windmill slamming.
Jack Be Nimble and Jack Be Quick.
Yeah, the Jack package the Nimble package is so good. I'm trying to think of what else. Puffin, like a lot of the like Zeppelins and Turbines and things like that are like some of her best cards.
Yeah, the rare ones. The two rares are both very strong, especially the one that makes a cog.
Yeah, Zeppelin is stupid. Whenever we all put when one of the members of our team was like, we were testing in limited, and like Tasha just gave them the prompt to like tap a cog, and they're like, "Oh, sure, I'll do it." And they're like, "Do you want to crank it?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And it gave them the action point, and we all just like had our eyes light up together of like, "Oh, that's how that works." And we were just like, "This is one of the craziest cards."
You guys who don't play that, Shio.
No, we don't. But it was one of those where it's like, "Yeah, sure, we'll just tap the button. It's funny." Oh wait, oh no, that was the correct decision by a lot. So yeah, but like they downshift a lot of the power cards, so that's a good thing.
It is. There's a lot of mixed response for ICs. A lot of people really enjoy the set that could open it, and then a lot of people are obviously in that other boat where it's like it just was so inaccessible or less accessible than it was at first going to be. So numbers, print runs, it's all very up in the air and fluid, and it's something that LSS has to continue to fix set by set. But this was and you could probably check it. I'm sure there's a way to check the distribution numbers or whatever. This was definitely a set where a lot of places that hadn't ordered this set for various reasons. Some of them probably not so kosher, and I talk about that as well. But a lot of people jumped on this set. A lot of stores started saying, "Hey, this game looks like it's blowing up. I need to be on this," type of thing. And then there's others that are just riding the hype and trying to Pokemon it and go, well, it's obviously sellable. So it's a mixed boat. And I think the singles and some of the rare chase cards will continue to go down as people like really Willy Wonka through these treasure packs for things that are left over from like the big hits and the Marvel amulets. And we'll jump into that just a little bit. But some good news, Codex of Frailty has actually done its job. Yes. More so than I think it initially intended to, and it will continue to. It's kind of what we thought. The one from the new set, not that there's anything wrong with the artwork, just seems like it has been the one that has taken the lower spot, so kind of opposite the CNC. It's sitting at $50 for normal. There's even a rainbow foil for $45, and I think as people continue to list their cards, because even some of the shipments that I've had, like I'm still waiting for things that were, supposed to be shipped on June 6th. So there are, distros still coming. So some people haven't even got their stuff. So Frailty continues to go down.
I think it's pretty obvious that it has a higher print rate than the Command and Conquer did in Hunted. I saw a lot more of them pop up.
I agree.
We hit 2 of them in one case. It was like kind of crazy.
So good stuff. I think it might be that they said, hey, Command and Conquer is a generic, so we'll keep it a little bit rarer. But I think they just clearly said, Codex of Frailty, there's no way to get it really other than by outsiders, and outsiders is hard to find. Let's just put some more into the market.
Yeah, and it's worked. So $40-$50 probably will climb down to roughly about 40, maybe even 35. A little less than 35 is far-fetched. It could go down as low as 30 just over time. Whereas the one from Outsiders is still lingering around 70. So not exactly a huge drop yet, but still pretty good compared to 130, 120, what it was at its high, not even foil. So it's definitely working its way down. So We like to see when things really work out the way they should. And then Golden Tipple remains like a treasure pack hit, not necessarily a normal hit. Just red's at like 30, 33 for the yellow and 29 for the blue.
For
so
the cold
Golden
foil
Tipple's
version,
actually
right?
for the cold foil version out of the treasure pack. Yeah, a lot of
Gotta be
the
worth
EV from the box comes out of that pack. So that pack is a very big portion of the box's overall value. That does not necessarily mean you can't get the Fable or the Rainbow Foil legendaries out of your packs, but like the big cold foil hits are obviously coming from those treasure packs.
I'm gonna
Or
say
your Marvel allies would be the other thing, right?
No, Marvel allies come out of the boxes themselves. So
Yeah, exactly.
but
Like,
it's saying
like
value in the box. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
that's
sorry,
your
for
that's
value
your
in the
inbox
box.
value.
I don't
Yeah,
like the treasure pack. I think it's bad.
I'm not a fan.
I have mixed feelings on it as well. I think what it does is it incentivizes that your cold foil and your hit comes out of that pack, and it sort of de-incentivizes the rest of the box. Because I think you can actually just take the pack and sort of move it on and move the packs, and I think you've actually done better than like having to have opened it up. I don't necessarily like it either.
You know
think
what
this
Star
is
City Games did, right? At the event. They took all
I
the
didn't want to go there.
foils.
I'll let you.
I
deal
want
with
to talk
it.
about, because it's going to happen at LGSs and stuff too. You could hopefully your LGS is cool and like gives it away as like participation or something, but like the SCG decided to take the gold foil out of the box since they weren't able to sell whole boxes to people. They don't have enough product to like do six packs per person. They said okay, or either they're being fair or they're just gaming the system. But they took all the gold foils out of the box on Friday. And then on Saturday, they announced about halfway through the day that you could get them for 500 tickets a piece. So.
Oh, no, there's more.
What is that?
They weren't going to do that.
Oh, no one said anything about it. It came out of nowhere. And I think there was some backlash starting to build up because people were coming up in groups of 4 being like, hey, we want our sealed box. And they would go, no.
Yeah, so on Friday, people would try to get boxes or they would try to get products in general, right? And they were like, hey, what happened with the gold packs or whatever, right? And they would just kind of like the answer and not really like give them a straight one, apparently. And so this wound up getting mentioned to certain people on Friday, and a bunch of people brought it up to people in positions of power. And suddenly the gold foil pack or the treasure packs were available for tickets on Saturday. Like they were just going to keep them and sell them. Is essentially what it looked
100%. Like. I mean, I think that is exactly what the treasure pack type of mentality generates. I mean, especially when it's one per box. I'm not saying it makes it any better if it's a real Willy Wonka hunt and it's like, oh, it's rare, just like I guess the New Moon Enigma pack was. But I think that's ultimately better than knowing you're going to have one every pack, and like the packs being, when the packs are in the background and everybody just wants the gold pack, I think that's counterintuitive to the product. I think something's fundamentally wrong then in the design.
There's so much wrong with it. Like if we're just talking about prize wall, like think about a ticket's minimum value. People who haven't gone to events, the tickets actually have money value because people will stand up and buy them. Starting on Friday, they start at 20 cents a ticket, and they kind of drop down to 10, even as low as 8 cents a ticket on the dead end of the last day of the event. So let's just say 10 cents a ticket, 500 for a pack. That's $50.
Yeah, that's not it.
So yeah, majority of the gold,
they have taken $50 out of the community by making you buy the gold pack, right? Like those tickets have a value, and they go back to SCG. And when SCG can basically get your tickets from you without losing any more product from themselves, they make money, and they make a lot of money. And they already
I was not happy with it.
Dude, SCG had to make so much money this weekend because the Battle Hardened was like 500 people, and they don't increase the prize payout. And the EV on participating in the Battle Hardened is dog water. Like it's actually just awful. And so they get all those entries, right? And they don't increase any of the prize payout. They've also taken the gold foil and charge 500 tickets per. So they're like leeching $50 per gold foil pack back out of the community again. I am super not cool with how like the popularity of the game has been handled at at US Nationals. It was pretty meh.
This is going to be a big learning one. I mean, I think it's warranted to have that talk, and I think it's something that we're going to have seen echo, and I think they're going to have to really learn from this. There is a price to pay for these types of chases and things like that when it's done the way that it's done, with a very straightforward one per box sort of treasure pack type thing, especially at 50. I mean, most people are trying to sell them at €40, I think, for like 40, 45. But when you're stripping that value from the box, like you said, and pretty much going, oh, you can have what was part of the box, but for a separate cost, that's when things start getting pretty wild.
Buying loose packs also feels worse now because
it feels awful.
You don't have a cold foil in the box anymore.
No, you don't have that random sort of like, hey, I got the cold foil, which people are going to be like, yeah, but the flip side is it's actually a really good treasure cold foil and it has more value. But there's
I got a Swindler's Grift yellow.
Right. Okay.
They're not all good.
They're not all good.
So, like, I think the treasure pack is a cool idea. I don't know why they didn't have a certain pool of cold foils that still show up in the packs. I don't know why they said we're going to do one and not the other.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. When your cold foil is in when your cold foil legendaries are in the treasure pack, like that's kind of undermines the way the boxes have always been. And then so we can get to story time, let's just gonna rapid fire some of the big winners or losers, depending on how you look at it from the set. Obviously, the Marvel amulets are all going to be about 1,000 plus. I'm not saying that's exactly what they're going to sell for. That's usually what people are going to ask for. Some of the lower non-playable ones, looks like Opal amulet is at $899. Some of the crazy ones, somebody's selling diamond for 3,000. So obviously they're going to be all over the place. These things are 1 out of 100. It really just depends. They're super cool collectors, sort of. The art's amazing. So take those with a grain of salt. More time is needed to get more of them out. There won't be that many in total. But more than one currently. Most of these just have one. The Fabled ship is sailing really fast on that. It's 350 in rainbow foil. Also, I think it's a complete sham, and Fluke and Box was talking about it on Twitter. No cold foil Fable is absolutely deplorable. Whether it was done by purposeful or by accident, that's deplorable. This is a one time. There's no cold foil Fable. And we're pretty sure it's done intentionally or it was completely just.
There's a rumor it's gonna be like a promo reward or a promo like winning.
Master set collectors are gonna physically cry if it's something like it's just not right. It really isn't. When you have a dynamic like that, there's too much to talk about with how wrong this set is. But the Rainbow Foil 350 Conqueror of the High Seas, or CNC SEA, as people like to call it, which I think is hilarious, is $200 in the extended. Gravy Bones $334. Marvel Adult Dread Threads at $230. That's crazy.
Really,
that's probably one of the most.
That's gonna go down.
Yeah, these will go down. Just giving you guys some preliminary. Some of the bigger allies are about 100. Rigor Mortis 79. Sawbones 104. Anka 87. Polycranka 300. So your
Polycranka's rare as hell.
Yeah,
Polycranka's super rare.
Also, the art. It's so polarizing, right? Because the art in this set is so good. These cards are so clean. Every card I open from that treasure pack, even if it's a saltwater swell, it looks so
the foiling
good.
On swell is fantastic.
The dolphins that are in the
you get the big sea monster sitting like in the shadow, and it just looks.
And it like foils out the sea monster. And you're like, this is great.
Ooh,
yeah. I think polarizing is probably the best word to describe this weekend in general.
Yeah. I think the set, the playability, the drafting, the heroes, all very fun. The way that this has been printed, given out, and the way that it has been monetized, it is very Pokemon-esque. LSS has to be careful with this. You don't want an Evolving Skies prismatic situation. You don't need people camping outside things you just don't. It just invites a terrible atmosphere, especially in a game meant to be competitive. Have a collector's side, but a very well-focused competitive side. And you kind of ruined both with this. You kind of hurt the collectors, especially with that cold foil fable, if that's true, and you're really hurting the regular players. It's something to learn, from. But take a look at the cards on High Seas. Take it with a grain of salt. A lot of the higher end, again, all from the treasure pack or some of the marvels. The base rainbow foil legendaries are decently affordable. I would say for the majority of these heroes, usually in the $80 range for the chest piece, $20, $30 for the gloves, things like that. So, but all that aside, you guys played High Seas Classic Constructed.
Yes.
Whoever wants to go for, how was it?
I can make mine pretty fast. Vegas was great. I had a ton of fun. I've learned that 8 games in a single day is very rough on either limited or blitz format because the rounds are so short. And so even if you play an aggro deck, you're basically getting like 5 minutes break at most. I did okay in that. So I missed day 2 by a game. Not my best showing. But calling, I was crushing it. I was 6-0 and just having a great time. And then I had one bad hand where I drew my red crash down the gates, another red crash down the gates, and my Conquer the High Seas all in the same hand. I had a busted sealed deck. And
his deck was nuts.
Literally from there, I lost every game for the rest of the weekend. I didn't win a single game.
I didn't put that together.
Yep.
You went 0-3-0-3?
Yes.
Day 2? Oof.
Yeah. I couldn't. It kept happening to me. Every time I would like take a risk, I'd get overpower scammed. And by the way, overpower scam is one of the coolest things that they did in this limited format. But it's also one of the most maddening, frustrating things that can happen to you in this format at the same time. It's just so, sometimes it's just so lame for suddenly you're against a Marlin. She's like 15 overpower and you're looking at your hand and you're at 10. You're like, I guess I'm dead. So that happened to me. And then also that hand I talked about where you like draw all your gas. You have certain ratios that you follow, right? Almost all the heroes that are playing some kind of like longer game are doing like a 10 reds, 8 yellows, 12 blues ratio. It moves around a little bit for different heroes and different archetypes that you're trying. If you're going in aggro, you push the blues way down, push the reds way up. But I mostly tried to stick with the 10, 8, 12 kind of ratio. And that did really well for me the first 6 games. I was just slapping people around. It was made, the Conquer the High Seas was great, but it was really crashed down the gates. Just whoa.
To tell everybody, you were playing Gravy.
Yes. I was playing Gravy, but you kind of follow those ratios with any deck that wants to play 3-cost cards, right?
Kind of. We'll talk about my deck when we get there.
And then it just kept drawing them. Hands of only red cards. And I only have 10 red cards in the deck. I draw 2 hands in a row with all my red cards and I go, I literally lost the game. Like
especially as Gravy.
Well, this was with Marlin. I drew all of my red cards and I was like, I've lost all of my gas. I drew it in one hand and my opponent's throwing 13 damage at me in a single turn. My best return is going to be like throw a 0 for 4 and I blocked 6 with my other 2 costs. Because usually you want your red to be the 2 blocks, right? Because those are your high value cards. Sometimes you get to do 3 blocks, but when you draw a handful of reds in this format, it is very, very, very painful unless you're literally Spitfire Puffin or Manta Marlin.
Yeah, and those hands, when you draw all reds, you're like, hell yeah, brother.
You're like, all right.
those decks calling to the big gun, swift shot. Calling the big gun, swift shot. Or dry powder shot.
Yeah, dry powder shot,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. That deck loves the all red hand. But, yeah. Yeah, that, I don't know. This format, okay, High Seas is going to get a lot of love, and we're going to talk about a lot of good things about High Seas because High Seas was a very fun format to prep. And I will say, first and foremost, shout out to Go Again, guys. I had so much fun prepping with all of you. It was like, even though this tournament itself was very stressful, and I was super, 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 super stressed out about this tournament, I actually enjoyed the process, right? Like logging on every day, testing with the guys, working on the draft decks, working a little bit on constructed. Hindsight being 2020, probably should have worked more on constructed.
But like
overall,
we only got like a week after they announced the ban list, and we're having to prep limited. By the way, this was the worst experience ever. I thought it was going to be maybe kind of exciting. I hated having the set come out on the same day as Nats.
Yep.
You're not alone with that.
And they did say at Nationals on the announcement that it was supposed to be a week later, but there was a venue conflict, and that's why we had to have it the release weekend. So there is that. We should be playing Nats on the 13th?
Yep.
Is when we were supposed to be starting Nats. Dude,
if that was the case, because I would have been able to go.
If that's the case, my deck choice changes a lot, because I played Florian, and I brought Florian because I thought he was a stable deck, and I did not feel good about draft at that time. Because in our internal drafts, I am Mr. 1-2. Like, that was my job. I just did not win. I never 3-0'd one of our internal drafts. I rarely 3-0'd online. I felt like I was having issues with this set. I just felt bad. So I wanted to bring a stable CC deck, and I was like, I'm just going to bring Florian, right? My choices, I was between Kano and Florian. Hindsight being 2020, I jumped off Verdant way too early in the process, but whatever. I brought Florian, and I immediately get punished because my round 1, I played into a Kano. And not only is it a Kano, it's one of the Kanos that I play with a lot. So he's good. He beat me. It was a funny game. I kept trying to change and bluff him on what different type of prevention I had, whether it was Seas or Compliance or Oasis, or just sitting on a blue. And we talked about it, and he was just like, we played a 12-turn game, and I thought you had 3 different prevention effects. So, but he got there because it's Kano, and he double wildfire me. He actually had to use Striders for Eternal Inferno to do the thing, and that was his Xaxis lethal. If he didn't have that, he would have lost.
Interesting.
And
you died to Eternal Inferno. That's fun.
Yeah, because the line was Wildfire, Inferno, Inferno Blazing.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't have the Eternal Inferno double loop, he died. Because he bricked on the top, because I knew the top card of his deck was a Kindle. Because he hadn't seen any of them yet. And we did the whole thing. But anyways, so I lose round 1, and then I lose round 2 to a Gravy. And this is why I was not excited about Florian. I was okay bringing him because I thought Gravy was really good, but also not going to be represented because release weekend, hard to build the deck. Turns out he was represented. That match was bad. And it is going to get worse for Florian. And I was playing the matchup how I expected to. The game plan's kind of get into the 15 to 15 life range. You have an Arsenal CMH, and then you just go bananas at their face, and you just overwhelm the board with damage to where they can't deal with it. The issue is he played a Whaler at that point, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll take this turn to kill the Whaler. I'll do the CMH stuff next turn. I blocked with a Canopy Shelter, and I had a Plow Under.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, trot along. Plow Under into the Whaler, because with the Might token, it's for 7. And then I was going to go Sword at face. And as the Plow Under is attacking, he says, holding priority, Snag. And Snag just protected the ally. Because, Plow Under gains the +4 off its own effect.
Yeah.
And it went back down to 3. So I couldn't even Reaping Blade the Whaler to kill it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So he gets to swing the Whaler again. I look at my next hand, and I'm like, okay, I have to clear the stupid Whaler again. So I blocked with 2 cards, and I go E-Strike for 7. And he looks at me, and he says, Compass. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry. You're not going to like this. He activates Gravy. He dumped a random blue, and he just literally picks up the card off the top of his deck, puts it on the table before he dumps the blue, and it was another Snag. Because I went E-Strike for 7. So I got back-to-back snagged, and Whaler hit me for 44 damage, and that was the game. So that felt terrible.
And talk about catching strays because of new.
We were talking about it, and he was like, yeah, this is for new. We just saw that it was the only way to protect allies, and we're like, oh.
It's literally it doesn't come into any other matchup except Earth and new. I don't even know if you'd play that into Mario. I don't think it's that good.
I have no clue. That's the Gravy player's decisions, not mine. But anyways, so I lose those two. I'm not feeling good. I pair into a Dio. We play Blocking Simulator 2025. I'm very good at Blocking Simulator 2025. I'm like, we have a lot of Dios, and it's not actually Blocking Simulator. You need to kill the Dio, because if you just play Blocking Simulator 2025, you'll lose.
Yeah.
So you actually need to like pressure them back, and like, okay, if you have Felling or Plow or CNC, you attack with those.
Yeah, you try to disrupt. Yep.
Yeah, because if you get into the end game loop, they now have Cog in the machine, and that gives them an infinite amount of damage. So you can't just like fatigue them.
Yeah,
and
if you go like sub 10 and they have 1 blue and 3 Cog in the machines in their deck, you just lose no matter how many cards you have left.
Yep, because they get 6 pistol shots every turn.
It's 4.
3 Cog in the machines?
Yeah, 3 Cog in the machines. You get 6 Cogs, but you only make 3 extra action points.
Oh, true. Okay.
So you could do some cute things like push a little bit more damage with a card from Arsenal, or break boots to shoot one more time when you do that kind of that stuff. But yeah, it's just 4 times over and over again until you run out of cards.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, so the guy saw that. I saw that and was like, oh no. But anyways, we played Blocking Simulator and we won. The next round, I played a Syndra. I had a really weird misplay. I arsenaled a Felling on turn 1 that I never played. Sorry, turn 2 that I never played. And I just drew like my decomposes in a weird order. And if I would have played that Felling out for 4 and decomposed with it, the hand after I would have played that, I would have drawn Felling, Plow, another yellow, and a red or something, or like red or something like that. And I could have like blocked down Arsenal the Felling, but I missed it in real time. Then I'm 1-3, not happy. I play a Puffin and I smack them. I won at like 25. And we get to draft. And I drafted a busted Marlin deck. This deck was insane. I had 22 3 blocks, which if you've ever had a 22 3 block deck in Limited, it's busted. Like, it was so good. And every card that wasn't a 3 block was either Go Again, 3 for 7, or Red Crash Down the Gates. So I'm like, man, I got a 3-0 deck. And there's a Scurv in the pod. So my first game was against a Gravy. I won with like 8 cards left in deck. Nothing really interesting in that one. My second game was versus a Puffin who thought they had a good deck. They were like really hyped up about it. And then they flipped over Blunderbuss. And so I won with 15 cards left in deck. Yeah. So our internal testing showed that Blunderbuss is not a good weapon for Puffin. Like, if you're in the Blunderbuss Puffin seat, you're not happy.
That's the one that you have to pay the resources to.
Yeah.
If you're relying on paying resources in Puffin, because I've played both, there's turns where you're like, yes, I can use my resources, but when you get the machine rolling, you want the other. Like, the second you've got Cog after Cog, you're like, why am I not on Spitfire?
Your blues in Puffin suck.
Yeah,
they're terrible.
They're awful.
It's like the Blunderbuss deck is good if you get High Tide Tribal. Like, if you get all the Sloops and Barks and all that kind of crap. The issue is you never get those cards, like as Puffin. Those get sucked up by every single Marlin and Gravy at every table. Like, those are highly contested cards. So you don't get like a High Tide Tribal deck, usually. So anyways, so I win that game, and then I play the Scurv. And our group kind of ignored Scurv, because our data showed that it wasn't very good in draft, because our group likes to stay very open. So like, Scurv would run out of cards to pick after like pick 5 in every pack. And he was legitimately getting like 5 class cards a pack that he just had to draft. And that was not the case here. But I played our normal strategy. It was like trying to starve the Scurv out of gold. In the mid games, he sticky fingered me just randomly. And I had like a full hand. And I was like, this is weird, but okay. And then I just killed the sticky finger pass. I was like, whatever, he can have my 1 gold. He went 7 into 9 off that gold. And then he went 4 into 4 into 6 into 6. And then he went 7 into 8 And then he went 7-7 and the game was done. Scurv. I just got scurved. Like,
dude, Tunic counter plus Snapdragon scalers all in one little activation.
Yeah. Yeah. Super Tunic that you put every turn plus go again to 3 for 7s. It's insanity. So I'm 4-4. I'm out of Nats. And I am sad. I'm a sad boy because I got scurved. Because like I felt okay about my deck after we drafted. I handed it to one of our better drafters on our team. And he was just like, your deck's nuts. You should 3-0. And he was kind of right. But anyway, so I got scurved. I'm sad. I'm playing the Calling. I have a very medium Marlin deck for the Calling. I had like a solid number of 3 blocks, but I had like 5 3 for 7s, 4 3 for, like I had like an obnoxious number of 3 for 7s, which if you've played the format, those are very good. I only had like 1 or 2 go again cards, so Gravy was a little spooky, and I didn't have a lot of 3 blocks in my blue base, but I had mutinies, so it was like, okay. But my basic plan was just to fatigue everybody. I was like, I think my deck has more damage than your deck. I got a red boat. I got a blue boat. We're just going to see what happens. And I won my first 3 rounds. Yeah, first 3 rounds. Round 4, I played Scurv. I got scurved as hard as I've ever been scurved. Like, that was insanity. I go turn 0, attack the guy. He goes lost in transit, take the gold. I'm like, oh, well.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Oh, no. Because like I had like a crash down the gates or something. I was like, dude, my turn 0 is awesome. This dude's going to hate life. I'm going to smoke this guy. And he got the first gold that he needed, and the game was done. So I lost that game. Then I lost to round 5. I play another Scurv. And this was the most yakety sax game I think I played on. Well, not actually, that's not true. It's one of the most yakety sax games I played on the weekend. I don't know this guy. I don't know who he is, but he just, like, he had a voice that I feel like he needed to be narrating everything. Like, I felt like he was casting our game, right? And it's like, I can't tell if it's like a British, like a off British accent or like an Australian accent, but it was incredible. And so, and like, if you've ever played a game with me, like, I yap a lot while we play. And so he yaps too. So we were just like talking so much, and I was genuinely getting like distracted by his voice. And then I bricked on like an all red hand, which that happens in this format. But I didn't think about that all red hand brick enough, like anywhere near as much as I should have. And I just made like the objectively wrong decision and lost the game, like almost on the spot. So, but I'm going to blame Scurv instead of me being bad. I'm just going to blame Scurv. So and then after that, I went on a tear. Like, after that, I fatigued my next opponent with like 15 cards in deck, 12 cards in deck. Like, I never went below 10 cards in deck for the rest of the day. And I just like steamrolled people. And like the life totals would look close, but we'd look at our decks and it would be like 6-5, and I have all my cards left. And like one guy threw the 14 overpower at me, right? He went like King Shark, Big Gun, another thing, activate the cannon, try to kill me. And I had pitch deck, red on the horizons, yellow on the horizons, one of the other just like random block cards, and then rally the rear guard. Rally the rear guard discard.
Rally the Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, yeah.
Rally the Coast Guard.
The Rally Guard. Yeah, the Coast Guard. We love the Coast Guard. I like Coast Guarded him back and like, or like all this stuff, and he was like, oh, huh, that's a pretty good turn. I was like, yeah, that was a pretty good turn. So anyways, so we made day 2. Those are my only 2 losses on day 1. We go in a draft, and this draft train wrecked super hard. Super, super, super hard. Because one guy opened up in his pack 1, pick 1, a foil not so fast. So if you know how the boxes break down, if there is a regular non-foil not so fast, there is a Scurv. It is supposed to be that way 100% of the time. There are a few like quality like QA print errors, but like that is their intention. So if you see a not so fast non-foil, you see Scurv. This guy saw a rainbow foil one and thought there was a scurv. And there wasn't one. So he drafted scurv.
Before he had it.
Yeah, before he had it.
Well, yeah. Okay.
He was like, dude, I'm going to get this. This is going to be the freest scurv I've ever gotten. Right? And he is 2 seats in front of me. And the guy in front of me is forcing gravy. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. The Puffin deck needs like class cards. Like needs class cards. You need the perk ups, you need the turbines, you need the drawback the hammers. Yep. You need all that, right? Skiff, skimmers, all that. I'm getting handed like Goldwing Turbine pick 7. And so I'm like, I am the Puffin seat, right? So I go Puffin. And halfway through pack 2, the guy who picked the scurv realizes, oh no. And like there were 2 Puffins in the pod, right? He goes, oh no, there's not a scurv. Like he just like suddenly realized there's no scurv. And apparently the best card in that pack was a red cloud skiff. So he goes, well, I guess I'm Puffin.
Yeah, that's how that works. You
and
forget all
suddenly
the other generic cards.
Pack 2 heroes to choose. You choose the most class reliant hero.
So he takes the red skiff, and I proceed to not see a single red card for the rest of that pack, like a red mech card for the rest of that pack, and I don't see a red mech card for the rest of pack 3. And I suddenly was in a 3 Puffin pod. My deck is terrible. It is awful. But the highlight of the weekend was scamming the crap out of a guy for a win. My deck had like 2 good turns, and they lined up into all of his 2 blocks. Like I literally, like the lethal line was I went draw back the hammer, yellow Zeppelin for 9 when he had no armor up and he was at 1. And he's like hand shuffling his hand a bunch. And I was like, oh no, like, is it one of those? He's like, yeah, it's one of those. I was like, do you have an out? And he's like, I don't have an out. And he just puts 8 block on the table and dies. And I was like, oh my God.
Yep.
We just, and the worst part was I wasn't trying to be mean. We kept on like talking crap about my deck the whole entire game. He was like, dude, your deck sucks. I was like, yeah, I know my deck sucks. And all this kind of stuff. And I flipped it over at the end of it. And I was like, look how bad this is. And I felt like, I didn't think about it until later that I was like dunking on him, but oops. So sorry, that guy. But yeah, so we scammed that win. I played another round. I lost. I knew I'd immediately lose the next round because that deck was bad. And the fact that I like scammed a single win out of it was fine. So I dropped to do a side event to pick up some looking for scrap promos for a friend instead. I was like, I'm just done. And at that point, I was like kind of burned out on high seas. Like I'd played, 8, 11, 13, 14, 17 rounds of high seas limited that weekend to that point.
Yep.
I was like, I'm kind of done with this. I've done enough. So the joke is I'm undefeated against Scurv, or like I'm undefeated against like the regular heroes that you can actually like plan for in the set on the weekend. And I was totally defeated against Scurv. Because, yeah.
I mean, if your hero powers make a pair of Snapdragon scalers and a tunic counter, it's actually a really strong hero power. It's a really, really strong hero power.
Yeah, if you can pick up Scurv in the first like 40% of the draft, I think you're cooking.
If you were like staying open, right? You're playing like the open strategy. And by the way, like I learned to draft with people trying to stay open. And the reason I struggled so hard in my drafts is both of my drafts, the one at the 6-2, so this is like near the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the one near the bottom that I did after I 0-3'd had at least 5 people forcing. Like,
yeah,
pack one, pick one. So it made everything super weird. There are a bunch of people forcing, and since they're forcing, that means occasionally you have 1 or 2 people who go, "Oh no, this force isn't working," and swap. So,
yeah.
And I feel like this format's very polarizing in general, right? Like, obviously, like I saw a bunch of bad matchups. I lost bad matchups in constructed. and then I won the good matchups because they're good matchups. But the like draft process itself also kind of gets kind of polarizing, and like some of the turns are like 3 for 7 back and forth, and then you randomly just have like, here's a 4-card 19 smile. And you're just like, oh, well, that was the whole game.
I still think it's one of the best limited sets.
It is. It is
100%.
still
Sealed
it
is
is
really
the top
good
2.
too.
Yes. Oh, it is a top 2. It is minimum top 2. It may be the best, but it is incredible.
I like
Rosetta
Rosetta
feels
Draft.
amazing.
I like Rosetta Draft and I like High Seas Draft. I
Yep,
just feel like on
Yep.
both of those two, all my choices mattered. Every single card I picked up meant something. Even the cards I don't end up playing usually meant something.
Yep.
I agree.
I thought I was going to go on a full rant about Scurv, but I don't like Scurv. I really dislike the design of Scurv. But the more I thought about Scurv, I'm like, well, it's like any other bomb where like you see a Germinate pack, like pack 2 pick 1. Do you pivot into Florian because you have Germinate? The answer is probably yes, because it's that good. But like, and Scurv's the same situation, right? Like, you throw your first however many picks out the window just to play Scurv because that thing's nuts.
So I want to make sure that we talk about the winners of the event and the people who did really well around us. Like
Yes.
Andrew Cook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude
Yes.
is like
Shout out Andrew Cook.
top 8 again. Man.
Yes, he is a machine.
Majin
We had
Bay.
2 people from Georgia top 8 nationals.
Yep.
Because Randy Davis is also a Georgia guy.
Yep. So grats to Randy, grats to Andrew Cook, grats to Majin Bay for finally picking up his like high tier.
Absolutely.
Win. Oh man, he's hit the meme for his like the thumbnail for his video.
It's
this
so
week
good.
is so funny. It's the Obama meme. And he's putting the necklace on the medal on himself.
Yeah, he's giving himself the medal.
It's so funny.
It's so good.
Grats to Majin. Grats to Jason Rolfe. I hang out with him in the Card Guys Discord. He won the calling.
Mhm.
Dude is a monster at limited. He's good at every single limited format. So I'm not surprised that he picked up that win. He flew all the way from Europe to come dunk on the calling.
He grinds
huge
more limited than like
congratulations.
any, like, I feel like he's played more limited games than like some teams have combined.
Yes.
He's just a grinder. Dude is
Jason-
an insane grinder.
Hard worker. Very hard worker.
Yes.
And he applies
Super
his hard
nice guy
work.
too.
He applies
Yeah.
his hard work to draft, and he crushed it. My buddy Jeff, also known as from his channel. God, it just left my mind.
New Horizons?
Yeah, New Horizons. I don't know why it left my mind. He got top 8 on Riptide at the Battle Hardened, which was really cool. He was playing a pretty spicy list. It had poison the tips in it.
That's not the
Ooh.
spicy card. The spicy card is Red Spine Manta.
That card's pretty good.
Yeah. But that's not like, whenever I think of like a Riptide list, I'm like, oh, New Horizon Death Dealer stuff, not Red Spine.
I've personally never
Feels
been a
like
Death
a-
Dealer fan in Riptide. I think the like playing super lean and abusing Manta is kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks
so-
sweet. Shout out Jeremy Chen, Noah Zinn, Chris Martin,
Boys.
Andrew Cook. Am I missing anyone who day-two'd Nationals from the group?
think you
I
got
think
him?
that's everyone, right? Yeah, I think I got him. And then me, you, Evan Brook, Andrew Lorenz, day-two'd The Calling.
And both Evan and Andrew were like one game off of getting top 8 in the calling as well.
Yeah. Yeah. If either of them pick up a game somewhere, they top 8.
I got to hang out with a lot of people, ate a lot of good food, and Las Vegas is great, and the vibes around Flesh and Blood are always absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And that's what, like, once again, like this week, I think the word of the weekend is polarizing because the experiences were awesome. Like, did I have a great time this weekend? Absolutely. I had so much fun. But there's like a bunch of noise that you kind of have to filter out to have that super fun weekend. But if you did, it was like fantastic.
Okay.
It's good. It's what Flesh and Blood should be. Like that's the dynamic, traveling around the world, playing a really great card game with really great people.
All right, Noah. Well, I don't want to make your guild mates too early for their raid. So you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, no, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I think maybe one final thing. If you guys had to pick your top 3 decks of the format, just going off of Nationals, it will change. Obviously, people will adapt to some of these decks. I mean, just really quick, top 3, both of you guys, since you guys kind of played into it and played the field, saw it, heard it, watched Verdance, watched the top 8. I did as well, but you guys had to pick a top 3.
I think, can I put both Earth Heroes together as
Sure.
a collective? So I think Earth Heroes are good. I think Allies are good. So I'll say my 4 are literally the 2 Earth Heroes, Prism, and Gravy.
I was gonna say Gravy, Verdance, sure, and then I'll go Prism as well. I think Florian is like sneaky bad right now. He's stretched like with Gravy coming in. I think he's just stretched too thin. But yeah, like those 3.
I like it. It feels New's usually hiding in the shadows too. She's around there too, just hiding around.
New's just always fine. Like she's just
and Azalea as well. Azalea's always floating around ready to.
Yeah, the way I described this meta to somebody else was like, if you've ever played like the stat games or like a Madden video game or something like that, the best team or the best deck would be like an 89, or like Bond Zen would be 100, or Starvo would be 100, right? Like the best deck's like an 89 or whatever. And then like the 15th deck is an 82. So.
Yep.
Yeah, the margins really aren't that far.
Yeah.
I would agree. I feel like this is a good meta. I think people are going to adjust naturally into this meta. It feels pretty good. We'll have to see how some other decks kind of get their sort of groove going, and then Mastery Pack Guardian might shake everything up again. Who knows? Maybe not, but we'll get there when we get there. But I'm glad you guys had a good time. I tried to hold it down. I really wish I could have went. It would have been fun, but they just had to call me back at the perfect time too. Like, what? It's just. Anyway, where can everybody find you, Mr. Justin?
J_EBS5 on Twitter and Jezo5 on Blue Sky, Discord, Carrier Pigeon, wherever else. I don't know. All the rest of them.
Thomas.
Nowhere. I'm hiding. I'm recovering from being in Las Vegas for a week.
All right.
I guess if you really need me, you could find me with the system on Discord, or bug me on Twitter at WestSystemFab.
And I forgot to do this at the beginning of the Market Minute, but you can find our affiliate links to any cards that we talked about below in the comments for TCG Player. Just click the link. It'll go give a 3% kickback. So if you're going to buy something on TCG Player and you want to support the podcast, you can just click the link. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, as well as check out the other affiliate links there. I'm Big Max Fab on Twitter, Big Max on Blue Sky. My hands open up packs of cards every day. I'm going to do one before I go do raid. And we'll go from there. But if nobody has anything else, I'll go ahead and wrap us up. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week. And if you did, subscribe or follow, depending on where you found us, to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves. And remember, we're all siblings in cardboard. And I'm happy to say I wasn't really looking for it, but I didn't see anything crazy. So it looks like a lot of people figured out how to read the cards. And then when they read the cards,
if Majin would have read Conquer of the High Seas, he would have had 4 more health and filtered a card.
Well, there's some people that needed to read Reaping Blade as well too. So I mean, it wasn't a mistake-free weekend, but we got pretty good.
We didn't have any sharking. It was just funny.
Yeah,
That's
just good, just good stuff. Take care, guys.